Right, so welcome back. Now in this video what I'd like to do is show you how to use some of these drawing pencils, and I've got a whole range of 12 pencils here, sketching pencils, ranging from a 6B, which is really soft, all the way up to a 5H. So I'm going to open the set of pencils and just show you what we're going to draw. Now the first thing I want to do is I'm actually going to start in the middle. I'm going to use an HB pencil and it will say it here on the top of the pencil. Okay, moving this set out of the way just to here. And all I'm going to do with this HB pencil is just draw a little, with a fairly light touch, a little area of shading with my HB pencil. I'm just going to do HB. And this HB pencil is somewhere in the middle of the scale. Now what I'm going to do is work up the hardness scale. So I'm going to work to an H pencil next. I'm going to do the same thing, just sketching and trying to use the same pressure with my H pencil. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just work down or up the hardness scale from an H to a 2H. And as I'm doing this, I'm very much trying to use the same pressure. And as I do this now, 3H, I'm beginning to understand how these pencils work, that the harder the pencil on the H scale, or the hardness scale, so the bigger the number that is, the harder the pencil is, the lighter the mark, the finer. Really good for things like technical drawings, the further up this scale we get. So sometimes if you're drafting an image that you want to work over later in a different medium, such as ink pen or paint even, using these sort of lighter pencils might be the place to go. And in this particular set, the hardest pencil is the 5H pencil, which is going to be a little bit lighter. And I am trying as much as possible to use the same pressure, although of course I'm a human being, so there may be slight variations. So now let's switch to the B side of this tin, starting with B. So we're beginning to get into the boldness or the softness scale now. Good. Again, I'm trying to use the same pressure. I'm just going to mark B so that you can see it's a B pencil. So the more soft the pencil is, the sort of darker the line, the richer the colour in a way, the graphite will be. And in the previous module I talked a little bit about pencils and what I use them for, and a lot of artists will kind of work on this B scale. They'll use these B pencils for drawings if they're just drawing in purely graphite alone. An HB, a 2B and a 4B are a good pencils to start with, a great place to start. Now on this side of the scale, this particular set actually works all the way up to a 6B, so I've just got one more pencil to go here, our 6B pencil. So I'm just going to create a line with this, and you can get 7, 8, 9B as well, so you can get much darker. And you'll notice a few things. You'll notice that obviously the shading itself gets progressively softer as we move up the scale, but you'll see the writing changes too. It goes from a very thin, fine line here all the way down to this 6B here, where it's a lot softer. And you can kind of see the sort of line we draw there. So I'm just going to go back down the range of pencils and just experiment with drawing a line. Again, I'm trying to use similar pressure throughout. And the whole point of having this range of different pencils is that we don't have to press too hard. The pencil does the work for us. It's really handy. So that we don't, if you want to make a dark line, we don't have to press really hard or kind of break through the paper because we're pressing so hard. We can keep our hand loose, keep our sketching loose and free, and keep that creativity. And the pencil does all the work. Because when you're doing drawings, it's important that you want to create a contrast between light and dark. From the lightest, where the highlights are on a piece, to the very darkest, where the shadows or there is no light. You want to create that highlight, that contrast between light and dark, and we can do that just using simple graphite like this. So again, you can see how the line changes. This is a very fine technical line here, very fine thin line at 5H. And it goes through the scale all the way up to this very soft, smooth, bold line. And this will smudge easier here. So if I run my finger up here, it's going to smudge much easier than it will do down this end. Okay, there's still a smudging because it is graphite, but it will smudge differently depending on where you are on the scale. Okay, so what I would suggest that if you have the ability to get hold of a set of pencils such as this, a simple set of pencils ranging from a hard to a soft, doesn't have to be exactly the same as this, but as long as there's a variation between the hardness and the softness, have a go at purchasing a pack of these pencils and doing a simple exercise like this. So just working through from the softness to the hardness. And whilst you're here on this video, there's one more thing I'd like to show you. You can also do sketching like this. So I've got a sketchbook here where what I've actually done, my sketchbook's actually a little bit big for the video, is I've done a drawing of the same item using different pencils. So I've gone from 4H, 3H, 2F to HB, and then worked down here over to the softer side. So I've done exactly the same drawing, but what I've done is I've used different pencils. So once you've just simply made some marks, I would suggest doing something like this. Choosing a simple household object or something that's easy available to you. So this is a little spoony fork type thing, a little wooden one I found in my kitchen drawer. And just draw it using the different pencils and see how it goes. You can see here it's particularly dark and shady. There's some bold lines, and then moving back to this hard end of the scale, we've got a much finer, detailed, lighter line. So there's no right or wrong for which is correct, which is not correct, but it just gives you an understanding of how your pencils can work. So have a go. Just make some marks and then have a go at creating some little drawings. It can be on a single page like this or on separate pages. Okay, and that is our softness and hardness range of pencils. Enjoy.